This music, it became a part of me.
Because of that, nobody
Go
heard it.
sing.
Come on.
Where do I start? Should I start from the beginning? Chasing all these pretty women. They used to call me a dog. They didn't care about a nigga feelings. When my car was a hoopty, when my car was my 2 feet, only paper on me was loose leaf. Where do I start?
Where do I start?
Come on.
Where do I start? Where do I start? Where do I start? Go sing.
Nou bouke, an rele an mwey na tete nad nou pran la. An mwey deye magouye. Kan sou fe a fos fe noa. An fe yon chen solidarite. Pou nou kwape la misère ak mouve feze ki vle nred denye. An mwey deye vole ak machan peyi. Ki semente pou peyi pa fe yon pa. Yon pa kita, yon pa nago. On rassemble courage nous, nèg la kaya, nèg l'autre pour courir derrière tout le monde qui croise pied sous l'estomac malheureux, à tout ça qui veut se faire couler. Nous bouquet ouais ti moun poit choko, on les soukon. Nous bouquet ouais grand monde de l'onanger. Nous bouquet ouais que c'est pays l'étranger qui ban nous manger. Nous bouquet yon pays femme vaillant. Garçon, garçon, le coup la caille dépend de ça l'étranger bail. Mes amis, nous bouquet.
I'm doing well, you know, by God's grace, being okay during this crazy time is a blessing. Growing up was a really fun and cool experience. I'm a mixed woman. My mother is born and raised in Port-au-Prince, Haiti, came over to the US, and I'm the first American in the family. My father was a first generation Russian American. He passed away when I was 10 years old.
Rest in peace.
Yes, rest in peace. But my parents met in Puerto Rico, so they both spoke fluent Spanish. My parents were linguists. My mom speaks multiple languages. English is her fourth language, French, Creole, Spanish, then English. My mother remarried when I was 16 to my stepfather, who has raised us. We had a very multicultural home, multi-ethnic, multi-religion, lots of love, lots of interesting looks from people, you know, and that's been the dynamic, you know. I had a very lucky upbringing that I, you know, understood that people who look different and talk different and had different ideals could live harmoniously and together. Oh, my father passed away when I was young, and unfortunately, we have no real relationship with his family, unfortunately. So I never really identified as that. I always identified as a Haitian woman because that's what I heard in the home. That's what we ate every day. That was all my friends, and riding, you know, the bus and making jokes in Creole. You know, I identified, and also what the world looked at me as, or black girl. I wish I did, but you know, I'm also very grateful to really have, you know, fun with my identity and like got to explore my Haitian roots and language and culture. I actually shot a movie I've already done a bunch of acting. Music videos are acting in an African TV series that aired in France on TV5 Monde called River Hotel. Yeah, so I have acted. I shot a movie that's coming out either this year or next year with an independent film producer from Miami, which will also have a sequel. I'm shooting another movie in the summer, so we got that. I have a lot of mentorship. You know, I want to also go down that, you know, education / more mentorship. That's always important, has been important to me, philanthropy and education and leadership, but really diving into that even more. You know, I just like to dive, you know, as an entrepreneur and a multifaceted mind, I like to explore different things that kind of also still serve my purpose, which is singing, but also my purpose as a human being, which is exploring all these things that I can do to help other people and also help drive home my real purpose, which is bringing music to the masses, you know? So definitely there's lots of stuff. I want to have a cooking show. I want to have a restaurant. I want to have a salon. I want to write books. I have a clothing line that I dropped last year. I have my online store with beauty products. I like to be dabbling in all of my different interests. I'm an artist. I like to try things and I'm unafraid. And it was just time. I was just like, I woke up one day and I just went. I called my mom that day. She's like, hey, what'd you do today? I'm like, I locked my hair. She's like, are you out of your mind? I love it. I was telling my loctician the other day, I'm like, even if I didn't like my locks, which I love them, just for my personality style and my minimalist style, it works for me. All I need is my little vial of water and oil. And I could come out looking popping. My head, my brain would swell from the amount of pressure and buying the weaves for hundreds of dollars. And that was years ago. I don't even want to know how much it costs now. I want to be able to sustain this thing for life. What are the ways that help me do so? Maintenance. Like this, I can maintain forever. This is me. I won't get like, when I'm 50 or 60, be like, you know, I'm tired. My brain can't take this. I'm good. And then people say, whoa, that's not what you sold. That's, you know, it's kind of like, evolution is important for the artist too, you know, in both ways. Sometimes it's like, what the hell was I thinking? Or it's like, wow, you didn't even, and most of the time for me, it's wow, you didn't even appreciate yourself or big up yourself enough for trying this thing, or like what you accomplished at that age, or how you grew from this to that and your consistency.
Yes.
Like keeping, you know, that's the hardest part of all this, is just like having the strength to continue. Having the strength to like walk in the forest and know like, I might not know how the hell I'm going to get out of this forest or where I'm going, but all I need to do is take the next step. That is what growth is. And that's the story. That's the career.
Beautiful.
Oh my God, fabulous. I'm just, you know, I cry more than I ever cried since this pandemic, and gratitude to God. When people are desperate for work, people are dying to be, and I'm just still here. I'm just like I was before the pandemic, even though I'm not. Like the terrain has changed, but like my mission is the same. And I'm just really lucky and grateful. And you know, I was telling my makeup artist the other day, I was like, you know, it's weird because I'm more expressive about my gratitude to the fans, which it's even hard for them to receive. I'm just grateful. Tour is going to be amazing. This upcoming tour, I'm going to actually Arizona, which not for tour, but the new congresswoman, not congresswoman elect, but the new elected congresswoman for Florida, is my home state, original where I'm from, is giving me an achievement award this weekend. So I'm calling that the beginning of tour for me. I'm going to Paris, I'm going to New York, Boston, South Florida, Punta Cana, Dominican Republic. I'm definitely grateful. And, you know, I'm still just trying to forge my way, but I'm definitely not. It's not beyond me to know how lucky I am to be even saying I have a tour, even though things are canceled and the COVID thing and traveling internationally is just with COVID. But, you know, you just got to, I have my favorite key idea since the pandemic is that one of my biggest weaknesses, God is like testing me, you know, like I feel like the pandemic has been like a personal and like global test for people, but it's like, oh my God, if I didn't think my patience was on point before, like I have had to enact different levels of patience now that I'm like, oh no, the Lord is like, girl, you don't have enough. You're gonna be stuck in this airport. You're gonna have to go to these COVID lines and sit and you know how it is in New York. You're gonna sit in that line in the cold. It's like I remember when in October I went to Santo Domingo last year, a few months ago, and Canada back to back.
Wow.
For 2 weeks back to back, I had to deal with the COVID testing going in, COVID testing going out, going to the airport and deal with the paperwork. I would cry to my mom, and she's like, everybody's going through this, Fee.
Yeah.
So you just have to adapt, you know? And so I'm just grateful, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to still even be able to have some versions of my normalcy, which is singing live for people, you know? Everybody asked me that question, and I truly don't have a favorite. I love That was one of the biggest things I missed about. And trust me, I was tired. When the pandemic hit, the Lord was like, oh no, Fee needs it. In my head, I'm like, there's a personal connection to it. And then there's like the global one. But it's like, I was so dead tired and I needed that time to just be in a place. I didn't leave my apartment in New York for 4 months. I did not walk out the front door. You know, I heard a statistic during the pandemic or towards the opening of the world, only like 25 to 30% of creatives were even working. Going back to your question, which is what's my favorite? I don't have a favorite because I have so many interactions with people and I just missed having an opportunity to do that. So now that I can continue to do that, I'm just trying to be even taking all these little lessons and gems and like enforcing them even, you know, more in my life and be more fearless and invest more and invest more in the live show, you know, just doing more because, you know, we experience what it's like to have things taken away from us. You know, our normalcies. One of my super fans, shout out to Cassie Fleur, this super fan. I know her name by name because this chick, she lives in Connecticut, but she's always complaining like, sis, you never come to Connecticut. She's come to see me in New York, in Miami, in Atlanta, in New Jersey. Like, I'm gonna come there, literally.
All right.
I like working with a dynamic range of artists, and I like diving into different styles that I love. Like compa zouk, that's in our blood. That's who we are. Right next to that, when you hear that in the street, you're probably gonna hear some soca, some calypso, some reggae.
Yes.
That's a part of the zeitgeist of the music, you know, that I love. So it's like, why not collaborate? Especially when you're as a musician, it's like I have an insight into like knowing how to authentically respect the music. So even if I'm not of it, I could be in it still. When I met Kimani, we were on a gig and then he saw me play and sing and he was like, yo, like you for real, like let's work. And I was like, don't say that, we gonna work. And then we got in the studio and I brought that rhythm to him. And I had produced that rhythm with my music director. And he was like, yo, I played him a few beats and he was like, no, that one's like authentic. That one's, you know,
We could tell.
But I'm like, whoa, you know, even in that moment, I'm like, wow, Marley is telling me my reggae production is authentic. That's respect. That's respect on both ways. That's respect to him for even saying that. We were in the studio and he was like, well, what do you want to talk about? I was like, and it was the week that we saw them whipping the people at the border. And I was like, this is, and we started talking about it and I just made up the hook right there. And then he was word and then he started writing his thing. It was really organic. I just love him. He's such a talented dude and loves Haitian culture. He's from Miami. So he's like, I always got a Haitian around me, like, period. I run with those. Oh, you're a real Miami boy then. Now, you know? And so, you know, from him to Cure or Root Shout, it's like, why not work, sis? Like, we're doing something together. We're in the community as colleagues. Like, people at the time really like thought that we had beef, and which was the concept of the video that we produced.
Right.
Like laughing.
That was dope.
Thanks. I shot that video with her in Canada. Another one of my productions with my music director. So, you know, it's like using all these influences and connections. Like I said, Jazzy Keys, he lives in Paris and he's Haitian descent. You know, my music director is an American, but he's like a studied jazz musician and great, you know, arranger and producer. You know, I'm classically trained. Why limit yourself when you can have more to share and more to experience? Like, yeah, I definitely I like pulling up in Jamaica and like loving that. I love it. Why not if, you know, pulling up in Portugal and creating Can't Resist with LG Beats Killer, who's an amazing Portuguese he's a Cabo Verdean producer that lives in Portugal, who speaks French, Spanish, Portuguese, and English. It's like, why not pull up on him in Portugal and like see what they're doing over there? You know, just I use my musical experiences as life experience because it's my whole life. Like I sleep and breathe it. So it really helps me have a more dynamic and fun life, and also just not limit myself to one thing that people expect from me. That's a thing that a generational curse that we broke, our generation. Because I remember in my mom's generation, it was more like that. But you know, I collaborated with Jack here in 2008, 2009.
Classic.
And when I would, thank you, Call on Me did end up becoming classic, thank God. Any Jamaican I meet, I said, you know the song Call on Me? And I'm like, that's me that sings it. Like, that's who I sing that all. And it's just amazing. And when I went down there, I remember some of those first interviews, people thought I was Jamaican. And when I said I was Haitian, they liked me more. So I'm just grateful that I've gotten to explore, like gone to Jamaica many times, shot music videos there. I know so many Jamaican artists and producers, and they're great musicians. I mean, I would say our country, in Haiti and in Jamaica, those are two countries that are definitely surefire. Also, like in Nigeria, like music is one of our most valuable exports and our valuable gems to the community. So it's really cool to get to interact with another community whose objectives are kind of similar. I think that my Sans Frontières TV special that I produced, my first step into that.
Yeah.
The concept was similar. It was like I had this virtual world around me and I was the only one. And it was like, even though not really, like I said, 15 musicians were playing on that production. You know, I recorded 2 violinists, a trumpet, a trombonist, a harpist, a flautist. I mean, so many, you know, drums, percussion, guitar, bass, from people from all over. So it felt like that. Like I recorded my piano player who played on that with me. He was in LA, and the 2 bass players, one in Canada, one in Miami. You know, a lot of the musicians were recorded in New York. You know, my sister danced in Florida, and my brother produced this stuff in New York. So it was almost seemed to me like that. I just hate the non-personal ability of the VR situation. I like talking to people. I like as nice as this is to talk to you guys over the internet. It's like I am good with people. When I get in front of people, I'm blind. I just
it's a wrap. That's it.
Once I get a grip on them in person, it's just, and that's the only aspect of it I don't love. I would prefer to perform live in front of you. You see the sweat, you see my face, you see my veins popping out. But you know, I'm definitely sure, because it's like, why not? It's just another artistic realm to explore. So why not? You want me to be really honest?
Yeah.
Removing the foothold of misogyny and the substantial leadership of women in our community.
Yes.
I think if that changed, we could advance the country faster. When I'm watching these conferences or watching the Bundy speak or watching these things happening or I never see women. It would help if we could have another perspective here. If I had a magic wand, obviously, that goes without saying, that was like a philosophical side of my magic wand. Obviously, I would want safety and security and education for all. And I want that in America too, because we ain't there quite there yet either. The abolishing of colorism and racism, and the abolishing of sexism, and the abolishing of non-sanitary conditions, and the abolishing of prehistoric misogynistic thought processes. And I mean, you asked me for one thing. It really frustrates and kills me that the country can't get a break, and it's just like how we as Black people in America got to do so much more to just be equal and start. It's like I always explain racism to people, or sexism, as like it's a race in life, and some people are here and some people are here and some people are here. And if you're in Haiti, you're like here because of circumstance that has nothing to do with you, and you got to do so much more to just start in place, and that's not fair.
Yeah, right.
Not fair. So my encouragement to people, it's Kembila. Pa kite tristesse la terre découragée. That's what Kembila is. That's what that song is about.
Right.
Don't let the sadness of your world and the sadness discourage you from keeping going, because the only way we'll get there is to continue to fight.
Ready? Okay, first one. Macaroni and cheese.
If it's on the plate, I'll eat it on. But I'm not like I need it to eat this macaroni and cheese. C'est un plat that m'a mangé, but m'pas obligé gen pour manger macaroni.
Okay.
Accra.
Oh yeah, non. Faut gen Pikliz ak Accra.
Accra pas piqué déjà?
Non, faut gen Pikliz ak Accra. Ou gen bagay fri, ou gen bagay qui fraîche et piqué. Non, obligatoire.
Ou met Pikliz en Dakar ou bien sous tête.
Ou my dipli, ou bien ou mettez un petit pièce Pikliz. Yes.
I'm gonna give you an easy one. Tasso.
Si ta soir bien goûté, bien épicé, gen sauce, c'est le soupe là, m'a manger avec.
You ever have a hero sandwich or a sub and you need something hot on it?
In Haiti, I did the banana griot sandwiches. This one spot in Port-au-Prince where I had that the first time, and I was like, oh my God, that's how I have to eat it now when I'm like having my flat griot. I like make a little sandwich and I put the banana and then I put the griot on top and then I put the Pikliz and then I bite. Then I put the little sauce and then I don't have a favorite. I'm a real when it comes to food. I love food. Obviously Haitian food, Indian food, Mexican food, Lebanese food, African food, Latin food, Eastern European, Ukrainian, Russian food. I love all food. I'm like crazy with the Vietnamese food, Japanese, China, not the biggest Chinese fan, but people like sharing their culture. Greek food. I love Greek food. I love food. Everything is on PhyllisiaRoss.com. You can find my shows there. You can find my shop there. You can find my videos, my social media. There's always Bagay Cafè. So PhyllisiaRoss.com. I'm in production mode right now. I'm just working, trying to decide what I want to say, what I feel. Like I said, I have different ventures coming out. The movie that I shot is coming out, Zone 911, with the director that I told you. From Miami that shot, the independent director. I got a crazy tour that's coming, some mentorship things and educational. So there's always different things. You know, I hope I just keep the ideas flowing.
Wow, Miss Ross, merci en pile pour ton pour avec nous aujourd'hui.
Pas de problème. Bless.
Where do I start? Come on. Where do I start? Where do I start? Where do I start? Where do I start? Come on. Where do I start?